Almost every homeowner wants to have a pool in their home. However, it is a very complex engineering structure. In this video, I will explain how we work with different types of pools, whether they are in-ground, semi-in-ground, or above-ground pools. I will show you real examples and the differences between these types of pools. I hope that after this video, you will have a complete understanding of how a pool is built, where to start, what to pay attention to, and ultimately, what you will have in your home. Where should you start? You should start, of course, with the client's profile. That is, for whom are you building this pool? After this, the design is created. If it's a large family, you have a lot of space, and you want to make a big pool for a large family, and you have enough space for it, the size of the pool will be determined according to this profile. If you just want a pool to dip into after a sauna, it will be a small, simply square pool, which is a completely different task. If you want to build a spa, that's a third task. If you want to build an infinity pool with views of the beautiful hill country, that's another task. First, determine your task, what kind of pool you want to build, and how much space you have for the pool. Keep in mind that when you build a pool, it is considered in the impervious coverage. So the design is ready. What comes after this? After this, you need to apply for a permit, and in many jurisdictions, I know for sure, a pool permit is obtained separately. There are jurisdictions, for example, like here in Travis County, where the pool is included in the house permit. That is, a phrase is simply added stating that the house has a pool. This is sufficient to obtain the permit and start the work. Once you have the permits, you can start building your pool. The pool contractor will do absolutely all the work for you. The entire process can take from 3 to 6 months. Sometimes it can even be a year. Why? Because if you are building a pool with the house, it is usually part of the process, and you can start with the pool. You can build the pool later. You need to discuss the timeline with your contractor. He will create a schedule for you, and according to the schedule, there will be stages. Friends, building a pool is part of constructing a large house project. For this, we have created an online program for those who want to build a house, or for those who want to start this business. Visit our program, the link is in the description. See you at our offline and online meetings. A very simple message: a pool is a basin. It's a basin that holds tons of water inside. This basin must be poured with concrete all at once. You cannot pour it in parts because that would be a violation of the technology. That is to ensure that water does not seep anywhere, does not pass through cracks or joints. The basin must be poured all at once. This is an example of a pool where the basin is embedded in the ground. This means that your pool level will match the ground level. Accordingly, to have the pool sit in the ground, you need to dig a pit, place reinforcement and plumbing in this pit, and then pour concrete. Here you can use the earth itself when you have dug the pit as formwork. That is, essentially, you don't need to make formwork. The structure of the earth allows it to hold well, so you can make the formwork not completely, but only in the initial form, as here, in this case. Everything has passed inspection for the framework, for the layout, and after that, the reinforcement is done right next to the ground. And when the concrete is poured, the earth will bind together with the concrete. This saves a little money, because if you build a pool above ground, you need to make 2 walls and construct it like a retaining hold. All other parts are the reinforcement boss, the plumbing part, the bonding part, meaning this copper wire that is run along the reinforcement. It is very important to secure it to the reinforcement. That is, this is the grounding of the pool shell. In this case, we are ready for inspection. We are waiting for the inspector. Hopefully, we will pass the inspection today, and next week the pool will be poured with concrete. After that, the finishing work will begin. Notice, the plumber has done his job. That is, he has capped all the pipes, prepared for the inspector, showing that there is pressure in the pipes. That is, the pipes do not let air through, so all the sealed caps are in place, and there is a pressure gauge. Plumbing work must be carried out by a licensed plumber. When you pass the plumbing inspection, his license is indicated in the inspection report. That is, this is very important. You cannot solder this yourself. Also, when you are doing bonding, you need to invite an electrician who will correctly do the bonding and handle all the electrical work. Do you see the gray conduits laid here? That is, this is the lighting inside the pool. All the pipes from the pool, meaning both the water supply and return, everything completely that the plumbers have soldered, he leads to the pad, where the equipment will be placed. And in this case, you can see a trench has been dug and the pipes have been brought out here. In this place, there is a manometer where we can see that the pressure is high, meaning the pipes are not leaking air anywhere. The prepared pad for the equipment is concrete. The pipes are brought here. After the pool is filled, all of this will be covered up. Here the equipment will be installed and connected. As you have already seen in our segments on completed pools. Below me is a 10-foot drop. I specifically climbed into this spot to show you how a pool can be 10 feet above ground level. What is the difficulty in constructing such a pool if you want to raise it to a high level, to the level of the first floor? First, you need to understand that you won't be able to set the main pool basin into the ground. That means you will need to raise it above the ground. Accordingly, a strong foundation is needed, a strong footing that will be in the ground. When the footing and the platform for the pool were ready and already integrated into the ground. Another challenge was to build high walls, that is, the shape of the pool. Here where I am standing, it is 10 feet. At that point, we have almost 12 to 13 feet. Why? Because, as I already mentioned, the house is on a slope, and the point closer to the house, we have a higher ground level, while there is a lower ground level there. Accordingly, these walls hold a lot of weight, a large mass of concrete. After the walls were built and all the supports were made, we moved on to the stage of creating reinforcement belts. And as you can see, the reinforcement belts go all the way down to the lowest footing. From the lowest footing, rebar protruded, which was then connected to our main reinforcement belts. So it turned out to be like a bowl, as if with water, but at the same time an inverted bowl connected to the main footing. The distance between the main base and the bottom is 5 feet. We filled it with sandbags. We passed the inspection. Soon we will be pouring concrete. This pool is half embedded in the ground, meaning partially. We had to dig a pit. After that, of course, we installed the form and went through the layout inspection. And after the layout inspection was passed, the rebar was done. We are now near a completed pool. This pool was made 8 months ago. It measures 19 by 32 feet. It's quite a large pool. Its depth at the deepest point is 4 and 8 feet. Pools can, of course, be made deeper or shallower. It depends on the client's preferences. But in principle, the pool standard suggests that the depth at the deepest point should ideally be 5 feet. That's to the stone. We subtract the distance between the coping and the water, resulting in approximately 4 and 8 feet, the depth at the deepest point. In this pool, we have many different features. And now I will tell you about them. We have a spa that can accommodate 4 to 8 people. There is a ledge where you can place a sun lounger. We have a bench where all your guests can sit and drink champagne, enjoying the view. In this case, we did not make an infinity edge, but there is still a quite beautiful view of hill country view without it. Is it a good idea to build a pool? Of course. It all comes down to money. How much does such a pool cost, for example? This pool can cost from $120,000 to $150,000. Why is it so expensive, you might ask? Of course, it depends on what components you decide to include in your pool. If it includes heating, it will be more expensive. If it includes a spa, it will be more expensive. If you install, for example, more expensive coping around the perimeter and tiles, it will be more expensive. The components of the pool affect the price. Before building a pool, determine your budget, and within that budget, you can decide what you will be able to do or not do. Because each element adds a certain amount of money.